Right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the science fiction section of my channel. First of all, I should say if I sound and look a bit strange today, it's because I've had a flare up of my sinus condition. So just thought I'd let you know. Right, we're looking at a couple of SF books that I've read recently. Quite recently, so I think I can remember what happened in both of them. Okay, we have two well-known authors, Philip K. Dick Vallis, or Vallis, whatever, and Clifford, Simak, why I call them back, From Heaven. Okie dokie, we'll start with Mr. Dick. Now, far be it from me to beat up on a author who has a very fine body of work behind him, but I found this book almost unreadable. It was certainly unintelligible to me. I read 50 pages out of the 260, 270 pages, and I just couldn't manage anymore. It was unintelligible. I don't know whether that's me. I mean, I don't know. From my perspective, how it ever made a SF masterwork, I do not know. But yeah, I mean, I had a quick scan through the other 220 pages, and it looked like more of the same. So for the first time in my life, I just gave up on a book because I didn't understand it whatsoever. I mean, I can't really say much more about it. All I can do is give it or assess it on my usual scale of 1 to 10, with 5 being average. And I'll have to go slightly out of those parameters because I give it a naught. I apologise to any readers who enjoyed this book, but I thought it was absolutely horrible. So there we are. That's one book out of the way in a minute and a half flat. Okay, let's move on to why I call them back. Now, I must admit, Clifford Simak is one of my favourite authors. His Hugo Award-winning Way Station and his other great novels, City. Yeah, I mean they're up there. Let's put it this way: they're well up there in my list of good, solid novels. This is the first of the Ace Specials, first series, and it's an actual first edition. The setup with this one is that the world has embraced cryogenics. If anybody dies, they have a little gadget implanted in them that registers lack of heartbeat, and that goes through to an emergency service, and they come pick you up and stick you in deep freeze. Now, all of this is administered by the Forever Centre, who are hoping that at some point in the future, all the diseases that affect the millions and millions of people who are stored in these mile-high buildings, I mean, millions of them, they're hoping that all the diseases that these people have been frozen because of, they're hoping that those diseases are eradicated by science. And they're hoping, rather strangely, that immortality will have been cracked, or at least our mortal existence, through science again, can be extended indefinitely. Now, the book explores the moral and philosophical problems of this. Obviously, there's the question of people's money, whatever they leave, that's got to be taken care of. Those that are rich will wake up rich. Those that are poor will wake up poor and struggle to get by. And of course, there'll need to be some form of social security for these people to get by. And the key element to all of this is time travel. They need to work out how to travel in time. Because when all these millions, possibly billions of people wake up eventually, we're going to run out of space. You add them to the current population. We're going to run out of space, or they're going to run out of space eventually, when people start spreading, new cities and what have you. So time travel is the thing that is central to the plan. And they have a female scientist working on this, and she goes missing along with her papers on the papers that she's working on. Now, into this background comes Daniel Frost, who is our hero, if you like. And he's some sort of administrator. I can't remember exactly what. He's some sort of administrator at the Forever Centre. And during the course of his work, he comes into possession of a sensitive sheet of paper, just one. And he finds out that this is sensitive information. And because there's a lot of infighting with the bosses who run this place, he decides to keep it in case he can use it for leverage. Now, of course, when all the bosses find out that it's gone, they do a sort of an investigation, and they work out that it must have gone to Daniel Frost. And so they badger him to give it back to them, and he will not. So they eventually capture him. He's submitted to a kangaroo court trial. He's found guilty, and he becomes an outcast. Now, an outcast is someone who is completely alone in the world. They're not allowed contact with other people. They have to scavenge for their own food. They have to find their own shelter. And as I say, Daniel Frost has to do that. And he eventually comes across a group of dissidents who take him in, and they go around scrolling messages on walls. And why I call them back from heaven is one message that they repeatedly graffiti, if you like, up on walls, which is obviously where the title of the book comes from. Now, Daniel has a few adventures, assassination attempts, and eventually he comes across somebody who throws the whole Forever Centre plans into total chaos. And that's all I'll tell you, because if I go any further, it'll spoil the story. Now, I found that I found it was a very good book. It was a real page turner. I was very enthralled with it. There was an element of suspension of disbelief, if you like, because some of the plans of the Forever Centre seemed rather ambitious, shall we say, waiting for all diseases to be eradicated, all life to be advanced, indefinitely. So that side of it kind of needed a bit of that suspension of disbelief, but at the same time, it was a very interesting notion, and Simak manages to juggle all the pieces of the puzzle quite well, I thought. The second half of the book is not quite as interesting because it focuses more on Daniel and his adventures, if you like, if you want to call them that. The first half of the book is more interesting because it deals with the moral implications of all of this cryogenic stuff. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. It's the third Simak book novel I've read, and I've loved them all. So on my usual scale of 1 to 10, with 5 being average, I will give it a 9. So that was a complete contrast in those two books. Anyway, that's about all I have to say today. I'll be along very shortly with some pickups for early September, and I look forward to seeing you then. But until then, bye bye now.